Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a really unique way of looking at our health. It's from a source called Health's Symphony, and honestly, it kind of flips the script on how we usually think about sickness and wellness. The whole thing is built around a set of core foundational laws. So, what's at the heart of it all? Well, this entire framework really sets out to answer this one big question. But here's the twist. It suggests that before we can even find the answer, we have to completely rethink the problem itself. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with what dis-ease actually means in this context. Then, we'll get into the 10 laws of health that are the backbone of this whole idea. After that, we'll look at a really practical 4-step approach, and we'll wrap up with the author's main takeaway. Okay, first things first. We have to start with the most fundamental piece of this whole philosophy. What even is disease? And you'll notice the source material does something interesting. It spells it with a hyphen, dis-ease. And that little hyphen, well, that's our first big clue. And here's where it gets really interesting, because this definition just flips everything we thought we knew on its head. In this view, dis-ease, that feeling of being sick or unwell, it's not some invader attacking your body. No, it's actually framed as your body's natural response. It's described as an effort of nature, your body trying to fix a problem. And what's that problem? A violation of one of the laws of health. So that obviously begs the question, right? If dis-ease is caused by breaking these laws, what in the world are these laws of health? Well, according to this philosophy, these are basically the non-negotiable rules for our physical and even our mental well-being. And I think this logo just perfectly captures the whole idea. The name itself, Health Symphony, gives it away. It's suggesting that our health is just like an orchestra. You need all the different parts, all the different instruments to be in harmony, all playing by the same rules for the entire system to create something beautiful. And here they are, the 10 laws. As you can see, this is a pretty broad list. It covers everything from things in our environment, like pure air and sunshine, to our personal choices, like temperance, which is really just about moderation. And it even includes our spiritual side with trust in divine power. So yeah, it's a very holistic way of looking at things. Now, it's really important to add a little context here. The author is very clear that they didn't just make these laws up. They're actually presenting a framework that comes from a book they've studied. So they're kind of acting as a messenger, sharing this specific philosophy with a wider audience. Okay, so that's the theory. But what about the practical side? How does this all actually work? If dis-ease is just our body reacting to a broken law, what are we supposed to do about it when we feel sick? Well, the source lays out a very clear 4-step process, and the order here is absolutely key. Step 1. Before you do anything else, you have to figure out the cause. Which law did you break? Step 2. Immediately change whatever it is that's causing the problem. Step 3. Look at your habits and correct the ones that led you there in the first place. And then, and only then, as the very last step, do you do things to assist nature, to help your body heal. And this right here, this is the real game changer. Think about it. What's our usual first step when we feel sick? We reach for a pill or a supplement or some kind of remedy, right? Well, in this model, that's the absolute last thing you do. The entire focus shifts away from just treating a symptom to first finding and fixing the root cause. And they give a super simple example to make it all click. Let's say you're dehydrated. Okay, what's the cause? You violated the use of water law. So what's the fix? It's not some complicated medical treatment. It's just drinking some water, maybe with a little salt. You figure out the cause and then you fix it. Simple as that. All right, so as we start to pull all this together, what's the big takeaway here? What's the one core message we're supposed to get from this whole philosophy? It really just boils down to one thing: empowerment through understanding. The other isn't trying to sell you a product. Their main advice is to just learn the system. Get familiar with the laws, start seeing disease as a signal from your body, and really get that 4-step process down. And this is really the promise that the whole thing ends on. It suggests that just knowing and actually using this framework, just looking at your health through this specific lens, can be a totally life-changing experience for anyone who decides to really implement it. So we'll leave you with this to think about. This framework, it really presents a world governed by specific laws, and it places a huge amount of personal responsibility on each of us for our own well-being. It's a really powerful, really structured way to see things. So the question is, what does a perspective like that mean to you?